Hey everybody, I'm Todd and this is Sweet Tea Guitars. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel and welcome to my entry into the Great Guitar Build-Off 2022. Alright you guys, before we get into this video, there's a couple of things I'd like to say. I need to issue a heartfelt thank you to all the guys at Crimson for being such a huge part of my life at this point. You guys have brought nothing but joy and happiness to me. I could not be more grateful internally that I know you guys. I would also like to say thank you to every other participant in the Great Guitar Build-Off this year and all the guys from last year as well. The message of the Great Guitar Build-Off to me is now and has been since the inception of this whole thing. The sharing of knowledge, the camaraderie of this beautiful community that has been created all because of this competition. This has become such a crucial part of my life, as have you guys. Thank you so much for being a part of my journey so far. So once again, welcome to the Great Guitar Build-Off 2022. Let's get rolling. I want to start off by showing you guys the body wood I've selected to go with this year. I'm going to use 8/4 Padauk, and I'm going to do a multi-laminate body with Padauk and figured Purple Heart. Fretboard wise, this is a beautiful piece of ebony. So ebony fretboard, I love this. Now it's not 5A figure or anything, but it is completely unique looking, you know. Purple Heart and Padauk neck as well. I've got two main pieces of Padauk right here. I've got some curly Purple Heart outside of that, and this has got a little bit of figure in it. Two more pieces of Padauk and a center wider piece of Padauk. We need to do a little work on this wood before we start to do this glue up. This is my tapered piece of Purple Heart, my center neck section right here. I've used this number 4 a good bit. I'm going to do the same thing to this Padauk. We'll attach both of them to the table. Let's take a couple of passes on this thing with the plane. What I want to do now is get this thing glued up. I want to get some veneer put in between here. I've got a tapered piece of Purple Heart down the middle just to make it a little bit more interesting. All right, so standard glue up technique. Now the fact that I've got that tapered piece in there means it could want to move on me a little. All right, you guys, neck blank sorted. What we want to do now is move to the body. So there's our 4 pieces of light veneer. Let's do the same thing with this Wenge, and this Wenge veneer is a little bit thicker. I only need 2 pieces of this. All right, what do you guys think? Subtle, you know, I don't want it over the top. So that's my orientation that I want. Same deal, we got lots of lamination on this guitar, so I'm trying to move pretty quickly. I want to put some light veneer in between these 2 pieces. I'm going to glue it up just like I would if it were a neck blank. All right, you guys, one crazy weird fretboard glue up done. That feels really, really good. That's just a beautiful look, I think. We put some oil on this thing and it's going to come to life. This is going to be the fretboard side of my neck. I like the way the grain looks on the back of this thing a little better. Let's drill these in. There's our tuner holes pre-drilled, ready to roll. Let's get this neck blank cut out. We're going to set up the spindle sander at this point and get this neck, at least this part, flat sanded on the back, using the front to ride on the face of a jig that I set up on the spindle sander. We're going to do the same thing to the headstock. Before we can do this to the headstock, I have to establish a flat side on this thing. I could have done a better job getting that clean if I would have chewed this wood off the front of this headstock. I've switched over to a firm sanding block with 80 grit sandpaper on it. We're going to sand it the rest of the way. We're dead flat at this point. I want to run this across the router table so the neck is at its final dimensions at the nut side and at the heel end. I need to get some work done to the body blank and get the top glued on this thing so I can start figuring out some thicknesses. And before I can do that, I need to get a nice clean gluable surface. This plane does pretty decent. I can't really say too much bad about it, honestly. We'll take some glue. Very little glue required for this. And there we have it, one glued up top set. What we need to do before we go any further on this thing, we got to establish a center line. So let's get our Crimson protractor here. This has got to be one of the most useful tools ever for guitar building. I want to visually verify this as well. It looks perfect. Let's get over to the drill press and get this weight relief stuff hogged out of here. I've got my depth stops set. There we go. All right, we're lined up. Let's get some clamps on. I got good squeeze out now, so I don't think I need one on the outside edge. Oh my God, that's heavy. All right, you guys, when we left off in the last video, I had gotten the top glued on the body blank, at least the perimeter shape of the neck cut. We'll have to see what it looks like once I get the volute carved in. Everything looks pretty symmetrical at this point. I'm not unhappy with that. So I'm just going to take the Iwasaki and start removing some of this material. And let's notch this out so that truss rod can drop down in there. There we go. Nice and snug. I'm below the surface slightly. All right, so here's how our fretboard's going on the neck, like this. There we go, you guys, a slotted fretboard. We got a square cut in at least. Let's get these holes drilled and get ourselves some locator pins put in here. All right, now we'll slide the fretboard straight down on these toothpicks. All right, you guys, here's our neck. Let's take our Crimson leveling beam. I've got 80 grit on this side, 180 on this side. I just want to find out if we're flat or not. So what we want to do now is let's take our flexible ruler and find out where our scale lengths gonna fall with the neck at that location. Right there. So there's our scale length line. We're centered side to side this way. We're proper where our neck's placed back and forth or fore and aft. We can pop this neck out just like that. Let me turn the vacuum on. Let's get this neck pocket cut. I love this part. I would call that a tight neck pocket. Oh, we are looking so good, you guys. We'll do some preliminary shaping before I glue this neck to the body. I've got 2 of them done so far, and you can see they're right in the dead center of that Purple Heart strip, which is where I wanted them to be. I just want to make sure I've got a nice 12-inch radius. We're good. I'm super happy with where this is headed. And I'd like to thank Scott at Bonehead Guitars once again for being cool with me using this idea. You guys go check out Scott's channel, Bonehead Guitars on YouTube. I'm just going to start working on this. Fine at first, I just want to get that corner knocked off. Now that the corner's gone, we'll switch over to the coarse side. And I like to close my eyes and just run my fingers back and forth down this cut. And I'll do that all the way through the rest of this build. I run my fingers up and down the skin, you know? That's just how I feel about it. What I want to show you guys, and I'm really hoping you're going to like it, is the body shape. It's a double cutaway. It's got some attributes of a Strat, it's got some attributes of a JS1000, and it's got some attributes that neither one of those guitars have. That's pretty much it right there if you can visualize that. Now obviously I got to file this and all that stuff, but each fret has black mother of pearl inside the aluminum tube, except for fret 12, which has white mother of pearl. I need to get my pickups routed, then I need to make a template for that bridge so I can drop that bridge down inside this body. So there we go, you guys. Pickups routed. So it's a double line at this point. That's my recess. What we need to do now is figure out how deep we want this recess to be. 2.6 millimeters that we need to recess this bridge, and that is the bare minimum. We'll take a 4.5 millimeter depth. It's time to cut this body shape out. Here is the Sweet Tea Cloud 9. I like it. It's not nearly as heavy as I thought it was going to be. I'm just going to zip over here to the drill press and get this cavity hogged out. That's all we're going to do. It shouldn't take very long. So there's the start of our cavity. Now I'll shave these points off like I always do with the chisel before we go to the router with this thing. So let's pan down here and get that done. I want to make a cover plate out of flamed maple. This is a really nice flame piece of maple. You may can see it a little better there. I want to cut myself a piece of some thicker material that will ride down in the cavity. I'm using a Crimson Guitars Universal Cavity routing template. Let's get this cover routed real quick. Tiny little short passes. I don't want to cut too much material at one time. So there's my cover plate for the back. Let's draw out this bevel I'm thinking about. I want it to come from kind of skinny. I want it to go fat right there. So let's rake this point off. What I want to do now is clean up down in this belly area. So what I'm planning on doing here, I want a wide to a skinny bevel, but I want it to taper back as it goes, so it'll have some dimension to it when I sand all this and once we get some finish put on it. If you want to keep a good hard line, you have to use a good hard block. All right, we're going to move over to the Iwasaki. Let's take our scraper, flatten this out a little. And this makes all the difference in the world in the end, you guys. In the last episode, we got our body up to this point. I've got all my bevels cut. We're sanded all the way up to 180. I am going to take it to 320 before we start wiping finish on it. But we don't need to be worried about that until I get the neck glued into the body. Before we can do that, I need to work on this neck a little bit. I want this fatter on this side, tapering off the skinnier on this side. And I just want to round these points off right here. I don't need to do too much work on my fat side. I want that to fit the natural contour of my hand, which is the whole purpose of an asymmetrical neck profile. You know what? I haven't even measured the thickness of this neck. I don't think I'm going to use a ruler on it again. I think I'm going to shape this neck completely by feel. So we'll go ahead and go down through here and clean out the rest of these slots and prep this fretboard for the rest of this process. Really lovely fretboard. I love this. I'm telling you guys, there's times when I'm down here that I feel like something magic has happened. I just love building guitars. All right, I think that's about as far as I want to take it on the spindle sander. The rest of this we can catch by hand as we're doing the final sanding on the neck. All right, so I'm just going to drill these holes in real quick. This shouldn't take very long. There's our holes drilled in, offset and all. We're ready to fret this thing, you guys. On this guitar, I'm going to use Centom's fret wire. This is extra hard nickel silver, 18% nickel silver. So I'm going to go down through here, wipe some glue in the slot. I'll take my paper towel. We want to start on the sides. Clean up our fretboard. It's easier to clean up now than it will be later. One fretted great guitar belt off neck, you guys. Lovely. All there is now to do is to glue this neck in. Let's get our glue bottle and let's get some glue put down in here. And there we are, you guys, finally. Here's the Cloud9 build as one piece. The back of this heel right here and this neck, I want all that shaped together so it flows. So I've got all my bevels cut in pretty much like I want them. So let's just start hitting the front of this body with this 360. We're going to wipe this guitar down to start with with some naphtha. Look at that flame maple, you guys, Jesus. We're gonna start the staining process at this point. I've wanted to do one of these linear fade finishes for quite some time now. We need to start off by dyeing the top of this guitar black. So I am going to use Angelus Jet Black Leather Dye. So let's shake our black up real good. So I'll start in the middle. And I already know I'm gonna have to sand on these bevels, so I'm not super concerned about that. So let's start sanding. We're gonna take the vacuum off this top. So we're gonna wipe this whole top down with turquoise. So now we're gonna go to light blue. Pretty dang cool. I'm blown away by it, you guys. We absolutely are achieving a linear fade. So I'm going to start to pull some of that dark down into here. I don't think I'm going to mess with it anymore. It's a sad day here at Sweet Tea. I had to sand it all off, you guys. I knew I needed to seal the top of this guitar before I applied the oil to it. I came down here, I was all ready to do it. I knew I needed to put just a light mist coat on my first coat and my second coat. Then I could go a little bit heavier on my third. Sprayed my first coat, everything went great, no problem. Gave it about 35-40 minutes because it was really humid outside. It started raining. I came back down here, not even thinking about it, sprayed my second coat on there. I came back down here to lay the third coat on, and I noticed as soon as I opened the door to the shop that the front of my guitar had turned milky white. My sealer blushed. I sanded all the stuff off, the blue's back off of here. I'm gonna redo this fade. All right, you guys, it's not exactly like it was the other night, and I know I've got a line right here. Last night, I did it again. I screwed up my stain. I'm back here. I stained it all black again. We're about to sand it all off. So here we go, turquoise, same thing. Now we're gonna go to the light blue. Now that I've got the regular Angelus blue, I'm gonna have to say that it's my favorite color of Angelus. I really love it. So let's start to pull some of this light blue just down past that line a little. All right, you guys, I got it done finally. I got the headstock done too, and I love it. I think it's awesome. And there's my body, you guys. All right, let's pop the top on this Osmo. Just want to wipe this stuff back, and I don't want to wipe it all off. All right, you guys, here we go. Finally, I made a last minute decision. Since I'm such a fan of Crimson, since they were nice enough to send me the penetrating guitar finishing oil and the high build guitar finishing oil, I'm going to use this to finish this guitar. I've had the Crimson high build finishing oil sitting on here for about 15 minutes. I am now going to just buff this stuff back. I've seen some of the sheen levels that Ben's been able to get with this stuff, and that's what really made me change my mind last minute. That's no buffing. I have not touched this thing. Excellent, you guys at Crimson. Killer, killer stuff. I love it. My colors have blended themselves together, and everything is looking so fine. All right, you guys, last night was kind of an experiment in sporadic film technology. I did not film all of this because it was a lot of me just sitting here thinking about what I was doing next. So here's the Cloud 9 build, you guys, in its current form. I need to restain these brass knuckles, these fingers, these blobs, whatever we want to call these things right here. I'm going to tape up my headstock right here. We'll get that done first so we can do some other work while that stain dries for a little while. And then we'll start back oiling just on the front of the headstock. That's really the only place that still needs oil. I'm going to start off with the turquoise. Then we'll go to the light blue. Then we'll go to the navy. Stain the whole thing turquoise. All right, we're going to move to the light blue. Let's go to our navy. So there we are. The way the Sophia is designed, it sits down on those front studs and it rides on top of those stainless Allen head screws right there. One of the most awesome bridges I have ever seen in my life. All right, you guys, we've got our bridge holes drilled. Finally. I want to drill in for the jack. There we go, perfect, no tear out. So that's pretty much what we're looking at. I know that's an odd place to have a jack. We have to drill in a ground path to this stud right here. And we're in. Okay, let's install these bridge studs and get that wrapped up. There we go, that's perfect. All right, let's put this other front one in. All right, you guys. Nice. And this is tinned, nice braided cloth covered Gavit wire. All right, we are good to go. Let's check our height. Oh, that is perfect. Killer. And how cool is that on this guitar? That is so sweet. I love that, man. That is such a cool bridge. We're going to shield this back cavity. I can't really go any further until we do. All right, we're nice and shielded. I don't see any voids down in there. We're good. We're going to use a similar stain set to what we used on the headstock cap. Turquoise, light blue, and navy. We'll stain it navy, and when we come back down here tomorrow, we'll sand this back, start applying our fade. All right, you guys, we're back in the shop. Today is Sunday, September the 25th. I've got 5 days left on this build. We're going to sand this back, and then we're going to put a fade on this thing, glue up my insert piece, and we'll call this done. All right, lovely. I want this to go quick, so I'm going to use super glue. Let's hit the back of this with some activator. All right, you guys, so here's our cover plate for the back, nice and punchy. Perfect. It's nice and tight. This neon blue, I really like it. We're getting ready to level, crown, and dress these frets. Let's draw up the top of our frets with the Sharpie. So I don't see any major problems. We should not have an issue getting these level. Now we're going to get serious about some fret work here. I've got my Crimson fret crowning file right here. I did not realize that the camera had ran out of battery. I was just getting it with the fret work. So here we are. I love that guitar. I really do. I think it's cool. I can't wait to play it. We're going to be done. I'll have my Great Guitar Build-Off final submission video sent to them Thursday night, one day in advance. I love it. All right, you guys, we're back in the shop. Tonight is Tuesday, September the 27th. I've got 3 days left. I went to install my tuners last night, and I've got about 2.5 millimeters too thick on my headstock. At least this way I know my headstock's going to be flat. We're back to this now. I really didn't have any choice, you guys. I love the way the headstock looks. The only problem I ever had with it was the fact that this hole right here is getting into my Purple Heart. We're too late in the game now for me to start thinking about changing it. I like the treatment I had done to it as well. Can't always get what you want, you know. Anyway, this is a piece of Tone Ninja nut material. Oh, we are looking so good. One slotted nut. Yeah, I mean, I hate that I had to do that to the headstock, but you guys tell me that's beautiful, is it not? I love that. Cloud 9. I got a nice glossy finish on it. Even on my fretboard, my headstock, everything is looking so nice, you guys. I am so pleased. All right, you guys, we're back in the shop. Tonight is September the 28th. It's Wednesday, 2 days left. And we're going to finish with 1 day to spare, I'm thinking. Unless something goes horribly wrong, we should be able to make it. I'm using the Hipshot locking satin chrome tuners, 3x3. These tuners look sharp on this guitar, I think. I love satin chrome. So that's what we look like right now. Very, very cool. I love that. There's our volume potentiometer installed. All right, let's put this jack in. I always follow a wiring diagram, no matter how certain I am that I'm right. All right, you guys, I'm back in the shop. It is about 3:30 p.m. the afternoon of September the 29th. I have to have this video uploaded to the Great Guitar Build-Off website by tomorrow night at midnight. That's all right. We're almost done, you guys. There we go. I'm wiring these straight humbucking mode. I'm not doing anything fancy like I was planning on in the beginning. All right, let's mark out these holes. All right, let's pop that cover on. Rear cavity on. All right, you guys, we got her together finally. Here's the Cloud9 build, you guys. I am beyond happy with this thing. I've decided that I'm going to put the strap buttons, one here on the tip of this horn and one back here on the tip of this cutaway. All right, our nut's in. All right, you guys, here she is. This is the Sweet Tea Cloud9. I got a nice glossy finish on this thing. This guitar is beautiful. She weighs about 9 pounds. It's 8.7 pounds. I weighed it. I want to carry you guys through the specs on this guitar. Then we're going to plug this thing in, hear what it sounds like. So let's start up here at the headstock. I've got a 3x3 headstock, custom designed Padauk Purple Heart, separated by light anti-gray veneer neck with the custom asymmetrical neck profile carved into this thing. You guys can see that. My neck's beautiful. It's nice and smooth. It's a little bit thicker than a normal guitar neck. I like that, but it's a little skinnier up on the thumb end. I like the way it fits the hand. Super comfortable. 3x3 hip shot locking satin chrome tuners. I've got a hand-cut Tone Ninja nut in this thing, which is similar to a Corian countertop material. I like this nut. It's really nice. Kind of like graphite, but a little less brittle, a little harder. We've got an ebony fretboard separated by curly Purple Heart with light anti-gray veneer again on the outside of that Purple Heart diagonal strip. I used aluminum tube fret markers with abalone, POW abalone inserts, with the exception of the 12th fret, which got white mother of pearl, matching aluminum tube side dot markers with POW abalone inserted in those as well. We'll move down onto the body now. I've got a book matched flame maple top from Kimball Hardwoods with a custom linear fade stain job. I used Angelus leather dye on this thing. Beautiful top. I love how this turned out. I'm so happy with it, you guys. The color is just, it blows me away. We've got a Padauk, a multi-piece Padauk and Purple Heart body separated by wingay and light anti-gray veneer. I've got a flame maple control cavity cover back here. I use screws instead of magnets this time. I use two Bourns low friction potentiometers in this thing, 500K, one audio taper, one linear taper. I used a Switchcraft three-way switch with the chrome metal tip. I've got a Sophia 344 Tune-o-matic style bridge on this thing with the deluxe saddle, so it's actually a 344 deluxe. Beautiful bridge. This has got to be one of my favorite fixed bridges ever. The strings actually lock into the saddles with these Allen head screws right here. It strings from the back, so you do not have to go through body on this thing. 4 stud mounts, super solid mount on this thing. 2 custom wound PAF inspired pickups that I got from my buddy Bill at Sonoran Custom Wound Pickups. He was nice enough to gift me those. The bridge comes in at 8.5K. The neck's at 7.6, so they're slightly lower output than what I would normally use, but these things sound so good and so clear. I used a WD Music spoke wheel truss rod inside the neck. I've got Kluson California custom strap buttons on this guitar, as well as a Puretone multi-contact stereo jack on this thing, but I wired it for mono. I've got it strung up right now with DR Black Beauty coated strings. They're solid black. 10 through 46 is what I used on this thing. I've got this finished with 6 coats of Crimson's High Build guitar finishing oil on top of 2 coats of Osmo extra thin wood wax. This thing turned out so beautiful, you guys. I love this, and I love the Crimson High Build guitar finishing oil. I ended up putting one coat of Osmo Gloss at the end of this just to give me a little bit higher build because the Osmo's got a higher wax content. I like what happened when I did that. It does not feel plastic at all. It's got a really natural feel to it. I did build it on the fly with no plans. Oh yeah, I've got a 33 microfarad Mallory mustard capacitor in this thing. I think that's about it. No treble bleed circuit, no anything like that. The humbuckers are wired straight humbucking mode. I'm happy with it, you guys. Let's plug this thing in and see what she sounds like. I'm just going to play some chords real quick and let you guys hear what this thing sounds like in the various positions. And we'll talk for a minute and wrap this video up. We're in the bridge position, tone wide open, volume wide open. I got my amp set at about 11 o'clock, so not too loud. No pedals, straight to the amp. Chimey, ringy, I love these pickups, Bill. Thank you, brother. So that's the bridge position. Let's go to the middle. Warmer, still got a little top end, but still retaining that clarity that I really love about a PAF. These pickups are a little bit mid-punchy, really crystal clear in the high end. I love that. The bridge pickup's an Alnico 5, the neck pickup's Alnico 2. I love the combo, honestly. I think they sound great together. Let's go to the neck. Let's just go ahead and go to metal. I just want to let you guys hear what this thing sounds like. Clean and wide open. Let's go to the middle. Here's the neck. I forgot to mention, it is a 25.5-inch scale, 22 fret. I use Centom's medium jumbo frets on here. I love it. Alright, you guys, we're going to wrap this video up right here. Thank you once again to all the guys at Crimson, Tom, Ricky, Sam, Talitha, and most of all, Ben. Thank you guys so much for everything that you've done for me. Thanks to everybody that joined the Great Guitar Build Off this year. Thank you to everyone that followed my build all the way through. I know there are more of you guys than I could possibly count, but I want to make sure that you guys know how important that has become to me. Thank you for being a part of my journey. I am so proud to be a member of this community with you guys. I'll see you guys in the Great Guitar Build Off 2023. And as always, peace and love.